pass you by. January is Muumuu month, and it is a celebration of culture and the history of Muumuu. 2015, it was the first time there was Muumuu month, and started by Shannon Hiramoto. She had been gifted a box of some vintage moo, loved them, and she decided to challenge herself to wear a moo every day of the month of January 2015, and then it took off. And she shared it on social media, and soon the next year, more people were wearing muumuu. And the next year after that, more people wearing muumuu. So now it's become an annual celebration to pull out your moo, go get some new ones, go through your auntie's closet, see what you have, buy a new one, make a new one, and really honor the legacy of the moo. Hi, I'm Andy Riley. I'm a professor and curator at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. I'm in the Fashion Design and Merchandising program, and I invite you today to look at some muumuu from the historic fashion collection at UHM.
Tell me about why they're considered muumuus and why they're pronounced that way.
Oh, great. That's a good question. So they actually were an undergarment in 1820. So in 1820, when the missionaries came over, and that style of dress was very Victorian at the time. And at the time, and that became known as a holoku. But underneath was the dress that was pretty much a slip. It was worn underneath it. But it wasn't really necessary for Hawaiian women to wear 2 layers of clothing in the tropical islands. So it became its own distinctive garment. It's called muumuu because it means cut off. So it was a cut dress, meaning like the train was cut off, so you could wear it underneath. And then by the 1930s, we started to see that people were wearing it outside of the house, because from the time that it was developed to the 1930s, it was just worn around the house as a house dress, something maybe if you're cleaning, but not really a dress appropriate for going outside. But then in the 1930s, we started to see that changed. And the one I have right here on the table is one of our earliest dresses. It is from the 1930s. And what you can see is the way that it's made with the princess seams is that it was really made to fit the body. So this might actually be technically a holomu'u, which is a combination of more of a fitted dress. But I think a nice distinctive thing here is, do you see what this it represents?
It looks like a lei.
It looks like a lei, right? And the sewing techniques on this, the way that it's cut, the way that it's sewn, looks like it's handmade.
Absolutely.
So somebody probably made this for themselves or their auntie, but they had beautiful bamboo fabric that they chose. And I'll even show you like some of the insides. You can see it definitely is more of a hand sewing technique.
Oh, and they even got the selvage in the seam.
They have this, yeah.
There's the green thread, and then there's looks very tightly stitched, maybe even by machine. And then the white thread is a shorter
More
stitch.
the hand stitching.
Yeah.
That might have been basting, helping them gather it together.
Yeah, which is how you make a ruffle. And then this is is this a bias tape or just a piece of
It looks
fabric?
like it's bias tape made out of the bias cut of the fabric. And so that was common to use to edge collars and edge things, just to give it a nice finishing touch. So it really is a nicely well-made garment. You have the zipper on the side. And they don't make zippers like because to get into this fit. You need it to get into that.
That is a short zipper.
Yeah.
So that shows a certain level of skill, because inserting a zipper is a little more difficult than just stitching a straight seam.
Anybody who's ever put in a zipper knows that it takes talent and it takes a lot of attempts to get it done just right so the little teeth will line up. So
so it doesn't show.
Right, exactly. And then to keep it hidden with the cover right here. See how that's done?
So this was a skilled seamstress.
Yeah. Definitely. And then I'll go back over here. So that's one of our earliest 1930s. Then by the time we get to the 1940s, we have this one. And I think this is fun because it's kind of like cartoon renditions of the fish. But we have great bright colors in here. And the bright colors really stand out, especially on this vivid rayon. And the rayon at this time, and they don't make this type of rayon anymore, so these are collectible. The rayon at this time really absorbed colors well, and it really showed off bright, bright colors. So when we think of those classic Aloha shirts, the bright colors, they were made out of this type of rayon. But we have a nice little ruffle that goes around. It needs some work on it to just repair some of the parts, but we're really getting into more of the shape of the Muumuu. The loose fit, a nice little ruffle around.
And this is for a small person.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, people back in the 30s and 40s, people were on the smaller stature side,
yeah.
especially different populations that were here that maybe were on this, you had a variety of people here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely was for someone who was a little bit maybe thinner or on the thin side. But I'll turn this around so you can see the back. And they did this nice job of gathering everything so that regardless of your size, it could expand. And I think this is one of the hallmarks of the Muumuu, is that it really can expand whatever your body size is. Because you put on a little weight, you have a little extra room to wear your Muumuu.
And it helps keep you cooler because you don't have tightly fitted clothes.
Right. You got a lot of nice airflow in here. This rayon was very nice, soft.
Yeah. And I love this one feature, just following the tentacles all the way down.
It's nice. I never noticed that, but you're right. The way it does have that nice line.
Yeah.
And then, by the time we get to the 50s and 60s, I brought these two out because we see that there is a lot of Chinese influence in the garments. And I want you to take notice of these sleeves. Look how these sleeves are cut. These were called pake moos, pake meaning Chinese.
Okay.
And so you get a lot of Asian influence in the fabric itself with, I don't know what these are. These aren't chrysanthemums. But you get the flowers in there, and then you also have these nice diagonal sleeves right here. And on this side, you definitely get in the frogs or the little Chinese knots here. But this sleeve is made more like a kimono sleeve, where it's one cut that comes out like this. And the fabric is, I don't know if it's real tie-dye shibori, which is more of a Japanese influence, or if it was made to look like this, printed like that. But these would symbolize shibori or tie-dye.
Yeah, it looks printed.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's not a lot of bleed over.
Yeah.
But they kept a really nice pattern with it, giving us this burst of color. And that's something we definitely see by the end of the 50s as we go into the 60s. We're seeing color, color, color everywhere.
Is this homemade? Was it a retail dress?
I believe this is retail, and I am 99% sure it is Togs. Let me just see here on the zipper. Yes, it is, and you can see right here, it's by Hawaiian Togs. And Togs was a very popular producer, manufacturer of Aloha wear in the middle of the centuries. Middle of the 20th century. Yeah, there you go. But you can see this one has the nice fitted zipper in the back.
And it's long, so it's convenient.
It's easier to get in and out of.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous design.
Yeah. And then this one, let me undo this carefully. This was also a local brand. And you can see here is Betty Higgins, originals. And
Royal Hawaiian.
Yeah. So she had her little shop there. So most likely this was sold to guests who were here.
Yeah. And that would be their souvenir.
That would be a nice souvenir to have, or wear to a party.
Big time.
Yeah. This one, again, doesn't have a name. It really is, doesn't have a brand. It's really fine finely made, and I'll put this on the mannequin so you can see it. But I love the fact that they have the 3 layers here.
Yes.
But it's a disguise because there's not really 3 layers. It's just they're sewn together like that. Here it is. They're sewn right here. This is where they're stitched.
So it starts maybe at the knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me put this on because you have to see this in all of its glory. Again, we have this Mandarin type collar up here. You definitely see, like, this definitely looks like Pele. It looks like the volcanoes rising up
It
from the
absolutely
land and the
does.
layers
Yeah.
of the land.
And it's got movement.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if you were dancing in this, if you were performing hula, it definitely would have movement and it would tell the story. We don't have a brand name with this. It was homemade. The person really was very skilled at it. Just the way the sleeves are cut here, or the bodice was cut here, because you almost don't see it. It's just matched so well.
Right.
But this is the 60s, and now we're getting into garments that have more of a local influence, more of a Hawaiian influence. Back has some nice details. So you see
Oh,
there's 2 little
yes.
buttons right here. This one is utilitarian, or what opens it, but this one's just more decorative.
But that
That's a
kind
nice
of
touch.
attention, even in the back,
Yeah.
is impressive.
And just the way it's cut right here. This is really, really fine work. Okay. But they did a nice job on the applique work, just to get that done. Well, I mean, it does look like, the shape of the volcano with the lava.
It has that energy.
I mean, this just screams peace, hippies.
It does.
And this one was from Kamehameha Garments. And they were on Hilo. And you can just see how fun this is. Make love, not war. You have the rainbows. You have this just fun piece. And so it is more of a fitted. It's not loose like the traditional Muumuu. But what a fun dress this was.
And it has longer sleeves than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that there's a little opening right here, so that the person will be able to show more of the arm. But it has a nice touch to it. Yeah. So that can be a lot of fun. And we'll show the back too. But polyester was also getting really big in the 1960s. And I'll put all 3 down here, and then I'll put one up on the mannequin. But bar cloth was popular in the 60s and the 70s and 80s, and it has this texture to it. And fabric that has that's known as bar cloth is supposed to mimic the look of what we call kapa here. So the way that the bark or the inner parts of the tree were pounded together. But there was a lot of interest at this time in indigenous cultures, and one of the aspects was mimicking the original kapa or tapa into fabric patterns or the way that it would have been painted. So we got 3 good examples right here. And they each have their own interesting patterns on them, or their own interesting cuts. Some have the tighter sleeves, which are more common of the earlier ones. This one has a sleeve that's at an angle. Some are more like the very Victorian traditional looking missionary type. And Muumuu like this were really popular throughout the Pacific. Or I should say dresses like that. Many different cultures and islands had different terms for the dress that they would wear. But you can see you have the ruffle here along the yoke. And this is, if you look at the way the sleeve is constructed, it had the big puff. And this was common in Victorian times when missionaries came over. And as you can see, but you're going to get your hand in here. They were smart. They put in a zipper so you could get your wrist in here and then wear it. But it really harkens back to that original traditional cut, but with a contemporary fabric. And then I want to show you the back here, because this is a nice detail.
Oh, yes.
What at one time, well, kind of like a reverse pleat. They
Yeah.
were popular at one time called Watteau pleats, which were on the pleat was on the outside. But this was a nice touch, again, to get that fullness in the back. So as you're walking, it opens up, and it just has a nice, elegant look to it. Look at the nice little ruffles and the details.
Is this fabric heavier than some of the other fabrics?
It is. It's almost like an upholstery fabric, so it's not going to be breathable like rayon or cotton. It is going to be a little bit heavier, maybe for cooler climates or wintertime. And I'm just checking to see if there is a brand name in here, and it doesn't look like it has a name in here. So it might have been made for somebody, but doesn't have a specific name. And I don't know that these either. Let me see. No, but they definitely had the yoke in. So these might have been made for somebody, or whoever was making them, made them special order for someone without the brand name. But no, this one doesn't have a tag in it either. But they did a really nice job. During the Second Hawaiian Renaissance, which happened in the 70s, there was a resurgence of interest in Hawaiian culture. And we had now designers like Nakeu, who is considered the father or the grandfather of Hawaii fashion. And he was taking traditional Hawaiian prints and designs and plants and putting them on clothing. And so there was now fashion clothing from the Hawaiian perspective rather than from other perspectives of people who came here. And so we have people, and he led the way. And so this is it. So these aren't utilitarian, they're more decorative to give you that Chinese influence of the qipao. But you can see there's nice big slits right here.
Yes.
So you may have worn it with pants or something else that, if that's what you wanted to do. But you definitely see that we have native plants on here, and then more of the Hawaiian design here. The qipao is a fitted dress, much like this. It usually has an opening. Sometimes it might be symmetrical, sometimes asymmetrical, with this Mandarin type collar. But he's combining this with more of a print that has his perspective on it. Because another important person at this time was Muumuu Howell. And this is so 80s.
Wow.
I mean, I remember, I think it was the middle school year, high school, in the 80s. Our yearbook wore these colors, this aqua and the pink. And so I immediately think of the influence of Miami Vice, because you had all those pastels that were coming in. And Muumuu was really good at identifying what were the more global trends, but she would make it Hawaiian. And so you have, like you see right here, and most of her clothing can be identified because she uses different Hawaiian quilt patterns, and of course she has her name right here. But putting them on clothing, but then adding more of a different type of touch to it that maybe combine the global fashion influence. Another nice distinctive feature about this is if you look at the side right here, so if you wanted to, you could turn it up so it had a nice little, it was more asymmetrical. You could show a little more, so it would gather on one side, and that's only a distinctive on one side.
Oh, okay.
But this is probably one of my favorite moves because it is so fashion. It is so typical of the 80s. And she sold this one at Liberty House.
Ah, yes.
Okay, thank you. These were probably at one time you could wear like this, or you could wear off the shoulder. And that might be a good project to replace the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elastic is just stretched out or dry rotted.
Yeah.
Oh, here
it
we go.
does
But
that.
here we go. It would look something like this.
Okay.
But you definitely get to see the whole pattern.
Now I know quilt patterns were individualized.
Right.
So is this specific to this dress? Did she copy it from another
I'm going to
place?
guess, or I'm going to speculate, I'm not an expert on her, that she would make her own quilt patterns.
That would
Because
be consistent with,
many quilters would
Yeah.
create their own quilt patterns
Right.
based on a flower, a plant, or something that was important to them that they wanted to share.
right.
And we still see today that there are a lot of designers who are using quilt patterns in their clothing.
It's, the patterns are gorgeous. I think they'll never go out of style.
And they really are distinct. I like that they're very symmetrical, and you can make them as big as you want or as small, but they really have a beautiful perspective to them. And then there's just one more that I want to show you. 1994. This one is so, I mean, it just says the slippas, and you have definitely the Japanese zori on here. And this one was made by two local designers. You had Betty Moo, who is really well known for years for making quality moo. And then again, we see Nakeu Avai here, who I mentioned earlier, and they did this wonderful collaboration. And what is nice about these buttons, these are little, I don't know, like you would say, what would you call them now? Cufflinks or type where,
Oh.
studs, that's the word I'm looking for. Now they're sewn in together, and then you just pop this right over. So it has the same function as the button, but on the other side you can see this is the back side.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really a nice design. And they also have this on the sleeve here. So it was very thoughtful in bringing in a little bit of Japanese influence in the fabric, but also having like two very important designers local to Hawaii to come up with this fun design that I think
It is great.
everybody would love here.
Yeah.